Hi, good evening. I just thought I would talk to you about something that comes up in clinic very frequently, and that's the topic of weight loss. So, I figured I'd share with you some of my weight loss tips. A lot of people don't realize that most of the foods in our modern culture are based on three things: fat, salt, and sugar, and various ways in which you can combine those things to make various flavors to which we all get addicted. And so, because this is very common, and also because a lot of the food in our country is very adulterated, so to say, with antibiotics, hormones, and various kinds of things that are added to it, intentionally or unintentionally, I thought I would share some of the things that have made a difference for weight loss for both myself as well as for a lot of people that I've met and counseled on this very topic. And one of the things that is very helpful when starting off is to think of it as a pattern. In other words, the pattern of whatever you're doing right now doesn't seem to be working very well, and so we're going to overlay a new pattern on top of what you're doing already and get hopefully different results and better results. Because when you adopt a whole food, plant based, no added oil diet, you change everything about the body. You change your taste buds, they get more sensitive after only a few weeks. You change your gut bacteria after a short while of eating lots of foods which are rich in fiber and very low in added oils. You actually change your gut bacteria to a type which promotes thinness. One of the ways I like to think about this is back in the day, maybe 10,000 years ago, whenever the last great ice age was, we went from a land of plenty with lots of gardens and trees and roots and herbs and everything like that, because it's summer kind of thing, to a land that was very frozen. And so our bodies are adapted to be either in plentiful times with lots of fiber or lean times with lots of animal protein, because obviously if you only are going to eat a mammoth once a month, you've got to have gut bacteria that can digest said mammoth. And so one of the ways I think about this is that our body has the ability to shift the gut bacteria from a type that does not cling to every calorie to a type that allows us to cling to every calorie so that we can survive in the frozen wilderness. In other words, you need all that extra insulation to be able to survive. That's one way of thinking of it, of course. And basically, one of the things that can be very helpful for transitioning to a whole food, plant-based, no added oil pattern is to have some resources. Of course, I talk all the time about Dr. Greger and his nutritionfacts.org and Dr. Barnard's nutritionmd.org, and also mention on my handouts a few of the other giants in the fields, such as Dr. Ornish, Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. McDougall, and several others out there. Well, as it turns out, all these gentlemen have resources, websites, DVDs, all sorts of things that you can do to help you in the journey. On average, the people that adopt mostly this pattern usually end up losing about 10 pounds per month, and on top of that, they usually sleep better, their blood pressure goes down, diabetes gets reversed. Literally, as I mentioned, everything about the body gets changed from the inside out. Another beautiful thing that happens with this is a lot of people that have had extra weight over the years end up with insulin resistance. In other words, the fat they take in from the animal products, mostly, or processed foods in this country again, ends up penetrating to the muscle tissue into the wrong place. So instead of being only in the adipose tissue, wherever it happens to be in the body, it gets misplaced. It lands up on the inside of the muscle cells, where it starts clogging up the works. In other words, your body needs insulin in order to be able to burn sugar and to be able to burn the calories that you're getting in. And it acts like a key on the muscle cells. So in other words, if the saturated fat globules or lipoprotein things that are in there basically clog up the receptors for the insulin, it's kind of like you got chewing gum in the lock, and basically the door's not going to open, it's not going to even let the sugar into the furnace to get burned up. So within a few weeks usually of starting this pattern, the chewing gum gets burned up too, and then the furnace is able to burn up all the extra stuff that's in there. So anyway, as I said, this is a pattern that is completely life-changing. So a few of the resources in front of my library bookshelf here. One of the folks that is out there is Dr. Campbell, author of the famous China Study, and he's got resources such as the Campbell Plan and is also behind several documentaries as well. So I'll set that aside. The Plant Pure Nation is the brainchild of the Campbell family again, and also the title of a great documentary. And so this is a cookbook with a lot of different ideas. Of course, you might have noticed that I've started posting, in response to one of my patients, a series of photographs which just give some examples of how easy this pattern is to apply to your life. A new book, hot off the press, by Dr. McDougall, The Healthiest Diet on the Planet. Actually, very well done. He has a lot of photographs, a lot of recipes in here as well. Next, also by Dr. McDougall, The Starch Solution. This is especially nice for all of the diabetics or people who are afraid of carbohydrates and basically confuse a granola candy bar kind of thing with a very healthy sweet potato, for example. This will give you a lot of ideas and tips on basically how our bodies are designed, mostly to burn the starches and so forth from real foods, not the processed stuff, of course, and how this can revolutionize your life as well. Of course, a all-time favorite is How Not to Die by my favorite physician, Dr. Greger. Of course, he is also the gentleman behind the nutritionfacts.org website, which has an incredible topic on the topic of weight loss as well. Next, Dr. Barnard. Oops, got this one twice. Dr. Barnard, also the physician behind the nutritionmd.org website, also has a very similar program, his 3-step program for reversing diabetes, in other words, getting rid of it altogether. I say getting rid of it with a little bit of a caveat, because sometimes when somebody has gotten diabetes, about half of the pancreas usually is not working so well by that point. But if you get rid of the blockages in the muscle cells, basically your body won't need nearly quite so much insulin. And so for a lot of people, their medications can be significantly reduced, if not eliminated, within a very short time after being on this program full-time. All right, next, what do we got here? Dr. Ornish, another giant in the field. These are 2 books here. This is his big one, The Spectrum. And one of the things I talk with people a lot about is you don't necessarily have to be 100% of anything. Basically, I call myself 99% vegan because once in a while something else will slip in. Okay, fine. It's not that big of a deal, honestly. If you eat really, really well 99.999% of the time, then basically you're going to be doing really well. Anywho, so the idea is that every day you've got a spectrum of choices, for anywhere from whole food plant-based to completely carnivore and everything in between. And the closer you get on the spectrum to this diet pattern, the more it's going to benefit you. So basically, if you think of it as like a drug, the higher the dose, the faster and quicker it's going to work and the more effective it'll be. Dr. Dean Ornish also has a program for reversing heart disease. This is one of his original things back in, I think it was the 80s and the 90s when this was first published. Anywho, he is one of the leading researchers on the topic of reversing both heart disease as well as prostate cancer, and showing that this diet pattern seems to lengthen the telomeres. More on that later, maybe in the video. Next, going along with that is going to be the, let's see, did we do this one already? No, not yet. The Dr. Esselstyn books. So, Dr. Esselstyn, also a leading voice in the research and presentations on reversing heart disease. And also, they have a cookbook which has a lot of recipes on the strict whole food, plant-based, no added oils dietary program. So why reinvent the wheel? A lot of people have done it for you already. And finally, this would not be a complete presentation without a little presentation of some videos. The main classic, of course, is Forks Over Knives. Very, very well done. You can see it on Netflix if you haven't yet. Escape Fire. This is an excellent one talking about how healthcare can be revolutionized over the coming years. Quite inspiring. Oops, those are videos there. Dr. Barnard, not only has he written a lot of books and put a lot of effort into his website, but he also has video presentations, so you can listen to him on YouTube or in things. And Dr. McDougall, similarly, very prolific. He's also got videos. He's got presentations every few weeks or so on his websites as well. And let's see, a few more classics here, a few more from the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, basically other tips for how you can, again, weight control, weight loss, that sort of thing. Heart health for those who are interested in preventing and reversing heart disease. And again, more on that. Food Matters, a very good documentary. Again, highly recommended if you haven't seen it on Netflix yet. This one is excellent, talking about how people have been doing things based on what the popular culture tells us, and also talks a lot about the sugars that are in our food supply currently. And last but not least, Food Incorporated is an excellent documentary as well. So below this presentation, I'm going to put a couple of links. Obviously, there's a lot of resources. All you need, if you really want to get started, is to Google whole food plant-based recipes. I've been posting a few photographs of some various very simple ideas of things that will get you started. And of course, Dr. Barnard's Nutrition MD has 1,086 recipes. They're all whole food, they're all low fat, easy to apply to your life. And he does have a 21-day Kickstart program for people who really want to be said, have this for breakfast, this for lunch, and this for dinner. And a lot of great ideas on there. Well, I hope you enjoyed this brief presentation on a few tips and ideas for how you can completely transform your life, reverse your diseases, lose the weight, and enjoy radiant health through basically one simple dietary principle. And I hope you enjoy. So thank you very much. Good night.